reset of the Russian-American relationship really aimed to build a more constructive and productive way of conducting our relationship, of talking to each other.
We have just launched two new elements of the Bilateral Presidential Commission, a defense policy working group, which is among the policymakers, and also a military-to-military working group, which is headed by Admiral Mullen.
Yes, there are some main priorities in U.S. relations with Russia, but it's also multidimensional. And we have a range of objectives that we're pushing and seeking to advance in our different meetings and strategies towards Russia.
Russia took a very big step in our direction in 2010 towards facilitating the transit of American troops and materiel into Afghanistan.
Counterterrorism efforts. We did a very interesting exercise earlier this year, or the end of 2010, with Russia, which involved the scenario of a hijacked plane being followed by American forces and Canadian forces through our airspace, and then handed over to Russian forces when it reached Russian airspace.
The military-to-military relationship got a quick, early, and strong start, and has been very active since then. Regular, almost to the point where most people don't even know about the meetings because they're kind of normal.
The fact that we were able to conclude a major arms control treaty continuing the reduction of the strategic nuclear arsenals on both sides in such a relatively short period of time, really less than a year, given especially how much the relationship had become tense, was really quite remarkable.
We are seeing the opportunity for more pieces, more offices in the Defense Department to be able to talk to their counterparts in the Russian Ministry of Defense, so we can address a broader range of issues.
We now, through the transit agreement, have been able to bring close to, I think now, 60 or 75,000 American troops into Afghanistan through the Manas Transit Center.
And I think missile defense has the potential to be a game changer.
It's an opportunity to actually improve the ability, in a practical sense, like I said, to provide defense to our countries, our populations.
We begin to see Russia not as a potential adversary or a country of suspicion, but a true partner in a joint effort.
We see that through cooperation with Russia, we can get a lot farther in confronting those challenges and dealing with those issues than if we went at it separately, and certainly we'll have a lot more success if Russia isn't pushing against us or even taking a neutral stand.
I'm really happy to see all the building blocks that we're putting in place. And while some building blocks are more important than others, like cornerstones, you can't actually build the edifice with only one piece.
Sure.
And focusing too much on one piece, I think, might get us distracted from a lot of the already very substantial work that I mentioned is already going on, and this broader array of defense relations that I think we're putting in place.
It doesn't depend solely on the United States and Russia. It depends on our relationship with our European allies, to understand how they see Russia's development in their own interests.
It's unrealistic to think of Russia joining NATO anytime in the future, but something which will begin to change the views in Russia and in the United States with regard to our role together working on issues has great perspectives for the future.
I would hope that as we build this relationship, as we take this step-by-step approach, we begin to build a level of professional trust and exchange that would encourage the Russian government to send Russian experts, Russian officials to the seminar here at the Marshall Center.
America values the Russian relationship as central to our concept of a more peaceful, stable world. I think maybe helps them understand their own concerns about how Russia's developing, and maybe leave just a little more certain that America's in this for the long term and not just a short-term tactical benefit.